Welcome back, or welcome if you're just joining us. It's the France 24 debate, and we are looking ahead to the Turkey referendum, which takes place on Sunday, one that could change the country's history, could grant executive powers to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. We welcome back Ertuğrul Yilmaz, vice chair of the CHP party, this largest opposition party in parliament, member of parliament for Ardahan, former ambassador. Welcome back as well to our own Lila Jacinto, just back from Turkey. And joining us, William Park, research fellow at King's College London, who is with us from Oxford. And in Istanbul, Barçın Yenanç, opinion editor for FOURQUET Daily News. We had reached out to the AKP party, not joining us for this show. Barçın, I want to begin with you. The mood has been described as somber. Pollsters saying we could have surprises. How do you feel the momentum is going?
There's few little that I can add to this picture. Indeed, we can't feel enthusiasm, although one would is talking about a systemic change that will change the whole administrative structure of Turkey. Definitely there's a lack of enthusiasm. Let's not forget that Turkey is still under the state of emergency. Let's not also forget that Turkey has been going on a series of elections. So people are actually tired about, going to the ballot box, and they just want to, get over with it and continue to their lives. And unfortunately, if there is going to be a very tight result on the 17th of April, just one day after the referendum, that is going to mean that this is not going to mean total normalcy.
And you're anticipating there could be a lower turnout than in previous polls?
Actually, no. The experts and the pollsters are telling us that there will be a high degree of participation, around 87%. But as has been underlined, this time there is an important amount of undecided among the voters. And interestingly, the undecided is rather in what we can call the potential yes camp, because the AKP got 49.5% of the votes in November elections. So the AKP campaign strategists and the pollsters are telling us that actually they have this 40% core votes that they would vote yes. It's the remaining 10% that is not exactly convinced. They're happy with the performance of the president. They're happy with the performance of the political party, even though they do accept that Turkey's economic situation is not doing well. They're not holding responsible neither the party nor the president. However, they're not totally convinced about the need of this change. So actually, the campaign that has been going on for the past few months, they're a little bit targeted towards AKP's own traditional constituency. It is them that are not totally convinced about the need for the systemic change.
All right, that's interesting. So targeting the core supporters of the AKP, one of the key constituents, by the way, that have been targeted are the nearly 3 million Turks registered to vote from abroad. Here you see ballots flown in on Turkish airlines. Now, let me ask you this, William Park. We've seen the spat that took place with Germany and the Netherlands, accusations of Nazi remnants thrown out by the Turkish president, ministers barred from staging rallies. Why has it been so caustic over this Turkish vote abroad?
Well, first of all, in those two countries in particular, most Turks support the AKP. That contrasts with the UK or with Sweden, where you find most of the Turkish or former Turkish citizens actually are Kurdish, and the biggest party is the HDP. So this, again, is a fight for the AKP vote in those two countries. And Germany, of course, is key, because that's where most people of Turkish Republic origin happen to live. Some of the causticness, I think, is not just to do with the election. If you look at Erdogan's rhetoric towards Europe even before there was even any call for a new constitutional, rather constitutional amendment, he already could use pretty aggressive language towards Europe. It's got worse, but it's not new. But I think it does convey a degree of panic or desperation that he really needs to win over as many AKP votes as he can, as your previous speaker said.
Hang on, you say desperation, even though the polls have him slightly ahead.
Well, slightly ahead, I think, for a politician looking to be the dictator that everyone says he's looking to be. You know, this is a reason for concern. And also, again, as your previous speakers have noted, we can't be too sure what these polls really mean. A lot of undecided speakers, a campaign conducted in circumstances that campaigns are not normally conducted in democracies, and many people who I'm absolutely sure would not want to say that they intend to vote no, because it's a very intimidating atmosphere. It's something you wouldn't wisely do in Turkey. So such a small margin of yes votes, I think, must be a cause for concern for the president's camp.
Öztürk Yılmaz, let me ask you, your party strongly condemned the coup that took place, the attempted coup that took place last July. What's your feeling when you see how much crackdown there has been following that attempted coup? How has that impacted the campaign?
Well, first of all, the amount of crackdown is immense, what we have seen in the aftermath of attempted coup. Because government has declared state of emergency. We have witnessed degrees after degrees in the state of emergency covering all areas of life and putting a lot of journalists behind the bar and putting a lot of pressure on civil society, on the freedom of expression. And many media outlets have been shut down. And many civil servants have been fired from the job. So this is a really extraordinary situation in Turkey. We are now conducting the referendum under the state of emergency. There is no freedom here, first of all. And media, what we call in Turkey a pool media, that means government-sponsored, government-financed media. 90% of media is controlled by government. And even there is no fair competition. And we are not allowed to take in any debate in any government state-run TV or government-sponsored TV. Turkey now is so much in a dark days, really. Under such circumstances, we are trying to demonstrate our democratic force to rescue democracy from the dictatorship. So it's an extraordinary situation in Turkey. And we are under pressure, even day-to-day intimidation and pressure, heavy pressure on all sides, all aspects of society now. We are cornered from all angles. So this is the situation we have been conducting referendum and also, but despite this, let me say a couple of words about the mood in Turkey at the moment. Despite this negative atmosphere in Turkey, people are courageous enough to say no, because saying no has some cost in Turkey at the moment. Saying yes has no cost at all, because government is protecting and there is no risk of it. But saying no has a lot of risk. You could be fired from your job, you could be sent to prison, and you could face very tough days and maybe force by government use force. All governors now using all channels, all resources for the benefit of government. All mayors using all government resources for the benefit of yes vote. And there is no democracy at the moment in Turkey. And yet, we are people, we are trying to rescue the democracy. And this is maybe the last battle in Turkey.
And there are people who are campaigning for the no. One woman has emerged as the face of the no vote. She comes from an unlikely quarter. Meral Aksener, a 60-year-old veteran of Turkish politics, who's defying both Erdogan and the leadership of her own right-wing nationalist MHP party. Her leadership endorses the yes vote.
We will be thanked for voting no. After our victory, the President of the Republic will stop committing anti-constitutional offences. He will find the right path and will finally be the President of all Turks.
She's a tank, this woman. She's great. No lies, no blah blah. She's not afraid. She's really got it all.
In making propaganda for the no vote, she's manipulating people. Her real objective is not to defend the no vote or to explain the reasons why rejecting the 18 articles of constitutional reform should be done. All she wants is to divide the nationalists.
Barçın Yinanç, your thoughts on this split within the right-wing nationalist MHP party?
Well, indeed, actually, dissent had already started within the Nationalist Movement Party a long time ago. It dates back, actually, at least a year or 2 years ago. And in fact, many believe that by supporting the ruling party, the leader of the Nationalist Movement Party is sort of trying to save his own seat against these dissidents, because she's not the only one. There's at least 2 other figures that have also rebelled against the leader of the Nationalist Movement Party. And in fact, she has been a vocal figure of the no camp, and unfortunately her meetings were obstructed. She had a lot of difficulty in continuing her no campaign, and that tells us that after the referendum, no matter what the result is, one of Turkey's opposition parties, namely the Nationalist Movement Party, is set for serious challenges, because the leadership will have to look at the result and see to what degree their own constituency have voted yes, because a lot of people and experts are expecting that more than half of the Nationalist Movement Party's constituency may vote no, in contradiction to what their leaders said so far.
At the end of the day, whether it's a yes vote or a no vote, Barçın, will the fault lines in Turkish politics be the same? You mentioning that we'll still be under a state of emergency come what may. Will Turkish politics after April 16th resemble Turkish politics from before April 16th?
Well, actually, that sort of the answer to that explains why there is the somber attitude in Turkey, because people do not believe that whether there's a yes or there's a no, Turkey is heading for bright days after the referendum. The problem is that this is a gigantic change as far as the constitutional changes are concerned. It's going to change Turkey's 70, 80 years old system. It's a sort of a titanic change, and that under normal circumstances should have come in front of the people after long, detailed debates, after an endorsement by most of the sectors in the society. And if there is a yes with a slight margin, that would mean that only more than little bit half of the society have endorsed such a big change. And that obviously will create questions of legitimacy. It would, the AKP leadership and the president won't take a deep breath and continue on their way in full confidence. So it would be rather problematic if there will be a yes with a slight margin. If there is a no with a...
Go ahead.
Well, let me just wrap up. If there is a no with a slight margin, well, no one is expecting President Erdogan to give up on his aspirations for a presidential rule. So most probably he's going to continue over his aspiration in the next coming years as well, which means that the country would be rather set for tension, and the fault lines will remain where they are.
William Park, a referendum that's monumentous and that ends with a slight majority for one camp. Does that sound familiar, sitting where you are in Oxford, England?
Actually, I'm not entirely sure I agree with this analysis. As Mr. Yilmaz said from the CHP, Turkey's already in a very dark place. Every day of the week, every minute of the day, Erdogan behaves beyond the powers that the present constitution gives him. So what this constitution is a rubber stamp of his behaviour, what this referendum is about. It seems to me Turkey is deeply polarised. It's deeply polarised around the man in particular. That's true already, and it will be true whether this vote is a marginal yes or a marginal no. So what I see this vote as doing is simply rubber stamping the form that Erdogan's rule takes. It won't necessarily change it very much. It'll legitimise it constitutionally, but how much is he bothered about that, given that he's already governing without reference to the constitution that he's governing under? So what I think is interesting here is if he gets this constitution, it applies to Erdogan. The problem is the laws of nature will suggest he'll be too ill to go on forever. Somebody else will then inherit power under this constitution. And that, I think, is a really interesting question. Turkey is stuck with Erdogan whatever happens. The issue is downstream into the future. This constitution will be changed again, just like Erdogan is trying to change the present constitution. And it'll be changed to rubber stamp whoever is in power. Unlike in your country, in the US or the UK, constitutions are not really rules of the game by which politics is played. They rubber stamp whoever is in authority. The present constitution was drawn up by the military after they unconstitutionally took power. And Erdogan is now behaving without reference to that constitution. So I think we have to be very careful about whether constitutions in Turkey mean what they normally mean, where you have constitutional governance.
Lila Jacinto, when you were out following the candidate, or actually the candidate, he's not a candidate, but when you were out following President Erdogan on the campaign trail for this referendum, it really is a lot of this referendum, as William Park just said, about the man himself.
Yes, absolutely. But, you know, I mean, what's interesting is everybody I spoke to, and I spoke to a lot of victims of the purge, absolutely endorsed this opinion that nothing really is going to change. And if there is a no vote, people are absolutely sure that Erdogan will try and put it into a vote again. He has done that in the past. So, you know, a lot of people extremely pessimistic that the status quo would continue anyway.
Is that your feeling, Öztürk Yilmaz, that whatever happens, well, the fault lines will be the same in Turkey?
Well, I disagree, first of all, because if no would prevail, I hope will, things is going to dramatically change in Turkey. First of all, President will function within the parameters of Constitution. First time, we would push him back into the constitutional line. This is very important and crucial for Turkish society, because day to day he is violating the Constitution. He is partial. You know, he's on the side of a ruling party. He's always humiliating the opposition day to day. So I think this is very important psychological, threshold. First of all, second, we will focus if there will be no campaign. If we will successful, we will focus on the lifting the state of emergency in Turkey as early as possible, because under the state of emergency, government is capitalizing on all these weaknesses of the society and turning things against the opposition and weakening the opposition, weakening all democratic elements in Turkey. So I think the second thing is lifting the state of emergency. The third one is we will of course we have a very strained relation with EU, with NATO, with United States in the region. So we have a very tense and tension-producing relations because of the AKP's way of handling foreign policy. So I think that is a kind of normalization we will expect, a normalization. First time in the after 14 years, we will witness a normalization in Turkey. This is also very important for the public and Turkish people.
All right, normalization of ties.
Importantly, with all parties, for example, we have a very strained relation with EU. We have, you know, we have almost a very tense relation with United States concerning Turkish and the United States disagreement in Syria, in Iraq, and also the way of handling the AKP's foreign policy, instrument. So there will be a normalization, and tension is going to deflate in relation with West, in relation with Russia, in relation with our neighbors.
If the result is seen as a curbing of his powers. Unfortunately, we're running short on time, but definitely the issue of how Turkey sees NATO and how it sees the EU after the vote, we'll be talking about it next Monday. Lots of reactions. We have a poll that some where viewers disagree that it will turn Turkey into a dictatorship if Erdogan wins by a small margin. So the margin is still small. Lots of reactions like this one, though. It's completely heartbreaking as Erdogan has ruined Turkey, turning back the clock for personal gain. Megalomaniac on the hashtag F24debate. We're hearing both sides weighing in. I want to thank for that Öztürk Yilmaz for being with us from Ankara. I want to thank Barçın Yenanç in Istanbul, William Park in Oxford, Lila Jacinto. Stay with us. Our Media Watch part is next.